In a world where dreams can shatter in an instant, he rose from humble beginnings to conquer the grandest stages. When fate introduced him to the love of his life, he thought he had it all. Until one fateful day, the truth came crashing down around him. A DNA test revealed a reality too horrific to comprehend. Witness an extraordinary journey of betrayal, lies, resilience, and redemption.
Beneath the blazing African sun, a young boy named Kofi kicked a tattered ball across the dusty fields. Though his feet were bare and calloused, they danced with a rhythm that defied his humble beginnings. In the vast savanna that stretched as far as the eye could see, Kofi's dream took flight, a dream to one day grace the grandest stadiums, his name echoing through the roars of thousands. Little did he know that the world awaited his brilliance, for Kofi was born with a gift that could not be contained within the borders of his village. His was a talent forged in the fire of passion, tempered by endless hours of practice beneath the unforgiving sun. As he grew older, Kofi's skills blossomed like the vibrant wildflowers that dotted the golden plains. With every strike of the ball, he painted a masterpiece on the canvas of the field, his movements a symphony of grace and power. One fateful day, a scout from a renowned academy witnessed Kofi's artistry, his eyes widening as the young prodigy wove his magic. In that moment, the scout knew he had discovered a diamond in the rough, a player destined for greatness. Whisked away from the only home he had ever known, Kofi found himself in a world of pristine pitches and state-of-the-art facilities. The transition was challenging, but his unwavering determination propelled him forward, each grueling training session a step closer to his dream. Under the tutelage of seasoned coaches, Kofi's raw talent was honed and polished, transforming him into a force to be reckoned with on the field. His name began to spread like wildfire, igniting the imagination of scouts and fans alike. Across the vast expanse of the ocean, the elite clubs of Europe beckoned, their siren call impossible to ignore. Kofi's exploits had captured the attention of the world's greatest teams, each vying for the opportunity to harness his extraordinary talents. With a heart filled with trepidation and excitement, Kofi made the arduous journey, leaving behind the sun-drenched savannas for the towering spires and bright lights of a foreign land. In this new realm, Kofi found himself thrust into a whirlwind of cultures, languages, and expectations. But his indomitable spirit refused to be cowed. He embraced the challenge, allowing the roar of the crowds and the weight of a nation's hopes to fuel his passion. Under the watchful gaze of thousands, Kofi took to the hallowed grounds of Europe's grandest stadiums, his every touch a masterclass in skill and artistry. Defenders were left spellbound by his deft footwork, goalkeepers helpless against the ferocity of his strikes. With each game, Kofi's legend grew, his name etched into the annals of football history. Fans adorned his jersey like a sacred totem, their adulation a testament to his otherworldly talents. Yet, amidst the thunderous acclaim, Kofi remained grounded, his humility a stark contrast to his on-field brilliance. He was the Savannah's son, a reminder that greatness can emerge from the most unassuming of beginnings. In the whirlwind of his newfound fame and success, Kofi found himself adrift in a sea of adulation and excess. The roar of the crowds, once invigorating, now rang hollow, a cacophony that threatened to drown out the voice of his true self. It was during this tumultuous time that fate intervened, introducing him to a radiant light that would forever alter the course of his life. Her name was Amma, and from the moment their eyes met, Kofi knew he had encountered a force more powerful than any he had faced on the pitch. Amma's beauty was undeniable, a breathtaking tapestry woven from the rich hues of her homeland. But it was the warmth of her soul, the kindness that seemed to emanate from her very being, that truly captivated Kofi's heart. In her presence, the relentless demands of his career faded into the background, replaced by a sense of peace and tranquility he had long forgotten. Amma was the eye of the storm, a sanctuary where Kofi could shed the weight of expectations and simply exist as a man, not an icon. Their first encounter was like a gentle breeze that stirred the embers of Kofi's heart, igniting a flame that would burn brighter with each passing day. Amma's radiant smile was the sun that cut through the clouds of his doubts and insecurities, reminding him of the simple joys that had once fueled his passion. As they spent more time together, Kofi found himself entranced by the depth of Amma's wisdom and compassion. She was a living embodiment of the values that had guided his journey, a reminder that true greatness extended far beyond the boundaries of the pitch. In Amma's embrace, Kofi rediscovered the part of himself that had been buried beneath the weight of fame and fortune. She showed him that success was not measured by the accolades or the trophies, but by the impact one had on the lives of others. With each moment they shared, their connection deepened, transcending the physical realm and touching the very depths depths of their souls. Amma's presence was a balm that soothed the wounds inflicted by the harsh realities of Kofi's world, a gentle reminder that love and human connection were the true cornerstones of a life well lived. In the quiet moments, when the world fell away and it was just the two of them, Kofi found himself utterly mesmerized by the woman who had stolen his heart. He marveled at the way her eyes sparkled with unbridled joy, the way her laughter danced upon the air like a melodious symphony. Amma was more than just a lover. She was a soulmate, a kindred spirit who understood the depths of Kofi's ambitions and the demons that haunted the shadows of his mind. With her by his side, he felt invincible, as if he could conquer any obstacle that dared to stand in his way. As their love blossomed, it became a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in cynicism and doubt. Theirs was a union that transcended the boundaries of culture and circumstance, a testament to the power of the human spirit to forge connections that defied all logic. In Amma's arms, Kofi found the strength to weather the storms that would inevitably come, secure in the knowledge that he had a partner who would walk by his side through the darkest of nights. She was his North Star, a guiding light that would lead him home, no matter how treacherous the path. And so, as their love deepened and their lives intertwined, Kofi knew that he had found a treasure more precious than any trophy or accolade. In Amma, he had discovered the true meaning of happiness, a love that would sustain him through the triumphs and tribulations that lay ahead. For in her radiant smile, Kofi saw the promise of a future that extended far beyond the boundaries of the pitch, a life where love and family reigned supreme, a life that would forever be illuminated by the warmth of Amma's unwavering devotion. As the first rays of dawn crept over the horizon, bathing the ancient city in a warm, golden glow, Kofi found himself gripped by a profound sense of anticipation. This was the day he had dreamed of, the moment when he would pledge his eternal love and devotion to the woman who had captured his heart so completely. In the quiet moments before the ceremony, Kofi allowed his mind to wander, reflecting on the winding path that had led him to this pivotal juncture. From the dusty fields of his childhood to the grandest stadiums in the world, his journey had been one of unwavering determination and an insatiable hunger for greatness. Yet, for all his accomplishments on the pitch, none could compare to the profound joy and sense of purpose he felt as he prepared to make Amma his wife. She was the missing piece that had made his life complete, the soulmate whose love had guided him through the darkest of storms. As Kofi stepped into the ornate cathedral, his breath caught in his throat at the sight before him. Amma stood at the altar, a vision of radiant beauty that seemed to defy the boundaries of mortal existence. Her dress, a masterpiece of intricate beadwork and flowing silk, was a tapestry that paid homage to the rich cultural heritage they both cherished. But it was the look in her eyes, the pure, unadulterated love that shone forth like a beacon, that truly stole Kofi's heart in that moment. In her gaze, he saw the promise of a future filled with endless possibilities, a life where their love would transcend the boundaries of time and space. As the ceremony unfolded, Kofi found himself swept away by the weight of the moment, each vow spoken with a reverence that belied the depth of his emotions. With every word, he poured forth the essence of his soul, pledging to love and cherish Amma through the triumphs and trials that lay ahead. And when the moment came to exchange rings, symbols of their eternal bond, Kofi's hands trembled with a mixture of joy and trepidation. For in that simple act, he was not only committing himself to the woman he loved, but to a future that would forever intertwine their destinies. As the rings slipped onto their fingers, a hush fell over the cathedral, as if the very walls were holding their collective breath. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, the world fading away until only Kofi and Amma remained, their love a beacon that burned brighter than 1,000 suns. When their lips finally met in a kiss that sealed their union, a thunderous applause erupted from the gathered guests, a cacophony of joy and celebration that reverberated through the ancient stones. Tears streamed down Kofi's face, each one a testament to the overwhelming emotions that threatened to consume him. But in Amma's embrace, he found the strength to weather the storm, anchored by the knowledge that they had embarked on a journey that would forever bind their souls together, come what may. As they emerged from the cathedral, hand in hand, the world seemed to burst into vibrant color, as if nature itself were rejoicing in their union. Confetti rained down upon them like a shower of brilliant petals, each one a symbol of the boundless love and hope that filled their hearts. In the days and weeks that followed, Kofi and Amma's love only grew stronger, a bond forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the unwavering belief that their destiny was intertwined. They were two halves of a whole, each complementing the other in a a dance as old as time itself. And as they began to build their lives together, they did so with the knowledge that their love would serve as a beacon, a guiding light that would illuminate even the darkest of paths. For in their union, they had created a sanctuary, a haven where they could weather any storm, secure in the knowledge that their love was a force more powerful than any obstacle they might face. As the years unfurled before them, Kofi and Amma's love only grew deeper, a wellspring of strength and inspiration that nourished not only their own souls, but those of all who bore witness to their unbreakable bond. They were living proof that true love could conquer all, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to forge connections that transcended the boundaries of circumstance and culture. And so, with every passing day, their love burned brighter, a flame that would forever illuminate the path ahead, casting its warm glow upon a future filled with boundless possibility and unwavering devotion. In the years following their blessed union, Kofi and Amma's love only grew deeper, their bond strengthened by the challenges and triumphs they weathered side by side. Yet, even amid the blissful contentment of their lives, a profound yearning stirred within their hearts, a longing to create new life, to leave an indelible mark upon the world that extended far beyond the boundaries of the pitch. It was on a crisp autumn morning, as the vibrant leaves danced upon the gentle zephyrs, that Amma's radiant smile took on a new, ethereal quality. Her eyes shone with a light that seemed to emanate from the very depths of her soul, and in that moment, Kofi knew that their lives were about to be forever transformed. The months that followed were a whirlwind of anticipation and preparation, each moment imbued with a sense of awe and reverence. Kofi found himself transfixed by the subtle changes in Amma's body, marveling at the miracle that was unfolding before his very eyes. As her belly swelled with the promise of new life, Kofi became consumed by a fierce protectiveness, a primal instinct that awakened deep within his core. He was determined to be the unwavering pillar of strength and support that Amma needed, a constant reminder that she was never alone on this incredible journey. In the quiet hours of the night, when the world fell away and it was just the two of them, Kofi would rest his head against Amma's belly, his heart swelling with indescribable emotion as he felt the gentle flutters of their child's movements. In those sacred moments, he understood the true depth of his father's sacrifice, the countless hours spent toiling under the relentless sun to provide for his family. When the contractions finally began, heralding the arrival of their long-awaited bundle of joy, Kofi was a whirlwind of nervous energy and unbridled excitement. He paced the hospital corridors, his mind a maelstrom of thoughts and emotions, until finally, the piercing cry of new life echoed through the halls. As he cradled his newborn son in his arms for the first time, Kofi was overcome by a love so profound, so all-consuming, that it threatened to shake him to his very core. This tiny being, so fragile and yet so full of limitless potential, was a piece of his own flesh and blood, a living embodiment of the love he shared with Amma. In that moment, Kofi understood the true weight of fatherhood, the immense responsibility that had been bestowed upon him. He vowed to be the guiding light that would shepherd this precious soul through the winding paths of life, instilling in him the values and resilience that had carried Kofi from the dusty fields of his childhood to the pinnacles of success. But fate, it seemed, had even greater blessings in store for the young family. For just when they thought their hearts could not possibly swell with more love, Amma gave birth to twins, two cherubic faces that lit up the world with their innocent smiles and boundless curiosity. As Kofi gazed upon his three children, he was struck by the profound realization that he had achieved a victory greater than any he could ever claim on the field. In their eyes, he saw the promise of a future that extended far beyond the boundaries of sport, a legacy that would endure long after the roar of the crowds had faded into distant memory. With each passing day, Kofi found himself utterly enamored by the tiny miracles that had entered his life. He marveled at the way they clung to his fingers with their tiny hands, their trusting gazes a reminder of the profound responsibility he now shouldered. In those early years, Kofi's world revolved around his family, his priorities shifting to accommodate the needs of his precious offspring. Gone were the late nights and endless training sessions, replaced by the gentle rhythm of nap times and bedtime stories, each moment a precious gem to be treasured and cherished. As his children grew, Kofi became their tireless champion, their unwavering source of love and support. He regaled them with tales of his own humble beginnings, instilling in them the values of perseverance, humility, and an unwavering belief in the boundless potential of the human spirit. And in those moments when doubt crept in, when the weight of his responsibilities threatened to overwhelm him, Kofi need only look into the adoring eyes of his children to find the strength and resilience resilience to carry on. For they were his greatest triumph, living embodiments of the love that had carried him through the darkest of storms and the highest of peaks. With every milestone, every precious memory etched into the tapestry of their lives, Kofi's heart swelled with a pride and joy he had never known. His children were not just his legacy. They were his reason for being, the driving force that propelled him forward on a journey far greater than any he could have imagined. And so, as the years unfolded, their laughter and love became the soundtrack of Kofi's life, a melody that would forever echo through the halls of his heart, a reminder that true joy is found not in the fleeting fortunes of this world, but in the unbreakable bonds of family and the boundless love that transcends the boundaries of time and space. In the idyllic cocoon of their family life, Kofi and Amma had constructed a sanctuary, a haven where love reigned supreme and the harsh realities of the outside world seemed but a distant echo. Yet, even in this paradise, the serpent of temptation lay coiled, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For Amma, the descent into darkness began with the most innocuous of whispers, a seed of doubt planted by the very man sworn to guide her spiritual journey. Her pastor, a charismatic figure whose words held a hypnotic sway over his flock, had taken notice of the young woman's soul-deep beauty and unwavering devotion. At first, his overtures were subtle, cloaked in the guise of spiritual counsel and friendly concern. He would linger after services, engaging Amma in conversations that gradually grew more personal, more intimate. His words were like a siren's call, luring her ever deeper into a web of emotional entanglement. Amma, her heart and mind still pure, was initially oblivious to the true nature of her pastor's intentions. She saw in him a pillar of wisdom and guidance, a mentor whose counsel could only serve to strengthen her faith and her marriage. But the serpent was patient, its venom slowly seeping into Amma's psyche, eroding the boundaries she had once held sacred. With each passing week, the pastor's touch would linger a little longer, his gaze growing increasingly heated, until the line between spiritual and carnal became hopelessly blurred. Kofi, consumed by the demands of his career and the joys of fatherhood, remained blissfully unaware of the tempest brewing beneath the surface of his seemingly perfect life. He was too enraptured by the love and laughter that filled their home, too trusting in the vows he and Amma had sworn before God and man. But even as the darkness crept ever closer, there were moments when Amma's conscience would stir, fleeting glimpses of clarity that hinted at the true depths of her descent. In those moments, she would gaze upon the faces of her children, their innocent smiles a poignant reminder of the sacred bond she was betraying. Yet, each time the whispers of guilt threatened to overwhelm her, the pastor was there, his honeyed words offering absolution and a twisted justification for her actions. He painted himself as the savior, the one who could free her from the shackles of her mundane existence and unlock the true depths of her potential. And so, inch by inch, Amma's resolve began to crumble, the boundaries she had once held so dear gradually eroding under the relentless onslaught of her pastor's manipulation. What began as mere emotional intimacy soon blossomed into something far more insidious, a physical betrayal that defiled the very sanctity of her marriage vows. In the throes of her illicit trysts, Amma found herself lost in a maelstrom of conflicting emotions, desire warring with guilt, passion battling with the remnants of her once unshakable faith. She was a woman torn asunder, her very soul fracturing beneath the weight of her transgressions. Yet, even as she spiraled deeper into the abyss of sin, Amma clung to the belief that her dalliance was but a fleeting indiscretion, a momentary lapse in judgment that could be rectified before the truth came to light. She deluded herself into thinking that her love for Kofi and their children remained intact, untainted by the poisonous tendrils of her betrayal. But the seeds of deceit, once planted, can never be fully uprooted. They take root, their insidious vines spreading through the fertile soil of lies and self-deception, until they choke out every last vestige of truth and fidelity. And so, as the months bled into years, Amma found herself trapped in a prison of her own making, her every waking moment consumed by the weight of her secrets. The laughter that once filled their home rang hollow, each tender embrace from Kofi, a cruel reminder of the depth of her transgressions. Yet, even as the walls closed in around her, Amma could not bring herself to confess her sins. The fear of losing everything, her husband, her children, the life she had so carefully constructed, was a paralytic force that rendered her mute, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the shadows of her own making. Little did she know that the truth, like a relentless hunter, hunter, was always in pursuit, its footsteps drawing ever closer with each passing day. For in the end, no secret can remain buried forever, and the day of reckoning was looming on the horizon, a storm that would shatter the fragile facade of Amma's life and leave utter devastation in its wake. In the years that followed Amma's descent into sin, Kofi remained ensconced in the warm cocoon of blissful ignorance. His world revolved around the joys of fatherhood, the triumphs on the pitch serving as mere footnotes in the grand narrative of his life. As his children grew, each passing year brought with it a tapestry of cherished memories, first steps, lost teeth, and the boundless laughter that seemed to permeate every corner of their home. Kofi was the doting father, his every spare moment dedicated to nurturing the young minds and spirits entrusted to his care. Yet, even as he basked in the warmth of his family's love, the serpent's venom continued to course through the veins of his once idyllic life. Amma's betrayal, that insidious cancer, had taken root, festering in the shadows and feeding upon the lies and deception that had become her sustenance. Kofi, his heart overflowing with paternal pride, remained oblivious to the bitter truth that lay just beneath the surface. In his mind, the children he doted upon, whose every milestone filled him with unbridled joy, were the living embodiments of the love he shared with his wife. But fate, it seems, has a cruel way of shattering even the most carefully constructed illusions. And on one fateful day, the fragile facade of Kofi's world came crashing down around him, the truth emerging like a leviathan from the depths, its massive bulk laying waste to every certainty he had once held dear. It began with a simple request, a routine DNA test meant to ensure the health and well-being of his children. Kofi had no reason to suspect anything amiss, his mind occupied with the mundane details of daily life and the ever-present demands of his career. But when the results came back, the earth seemed to shift beneath his feet, the ground opening up to swallow him whole. For there, in black and white, was the incontrovertible proof that the children he had loved and nurtured were not his own flesh and blood. In that moment, Kofi's world shattered into a million jagged shards, each one a memory tainted by the bitter taste of betrayal. The laughter that had once filled their home rang hollow, a cruel mockery of the life he had so carefully constructed. As the truth washed over him in crashing waves, Kofi found himself adrift in a sea of disbelief and anguish. The woman he had loved with every fiber of his being, the one who had vowed to walk by his side through thick and thin, had committed the ultimate act of treachery. Amma's deceit was a knife that pierced his heart, twisting with every revelation that tumbled forth from her trembling lips. The pastor, the very man who should have guided her soul, had instead led her down a path of sin and destruction, seducing her with honeyed words and false promises. In the depths of his despair, Kofi's mind became a whirlwind of unanswered questions and agonizing what-ifs. How could the woman he had trusted implicitly, the mother of his children, have betrayed him in such a profound way? How could she have allowed another man to lay claim to the sanctity of their marriage bed? And perhaps most haunting of all, how could he have been so blind, so utterly oblivious to the serpent that had slithered into his Eden and poisoned the very wellspring of his happiness? As the bitter truth threatened to consume him, Kofi found himself retreating inward, erecting impenetrable walls around his shattered heart. The world that had once seemed so vibrant and full of promise now appeared muted, as if a thick veil had descended, obscuring all joy and color from his vision. In the darkest hours of the night, when sleep evaded him like a cruel phantom, Kofi would lie awake, his mind replaying every precious moment he had shared with his children. Each tender embrace, every whispered bedtime story, now felt like a razor's caress, slicing deeper into the wounds of his betrayal. The love he had once felt for those innocent faces, those beacons of hope and possibility, had become tainted, a bitter amalgam of adoration and resentment. For how could he continue to pour his heart into beings that were not truly his own, living embodiments of the ultimate violation of his trust? In those darkest moments, Kofi found himself teetering on the precipice of an abyss, his anguish a yawning chasm that threatened to swallow him whole. The only thing tethering him to the world he had once known was the memory of who he had been before the truth had come to light, a man of unwavering resilience and boundless dreams. Yet, even as he clung to those tattered remnants of his former self, Kofi could not escape the nagging realization that his life had been irrevocably altered. The path that had once stretched out before him, a winding road paved with hope and promise, had been obliterated, replaced by a vast wasteland of doubt and uncertainty. But in the depths of his despair, a glimmer of his indomitable spirit flickered, a solitary flame that refused to be extinguished. For Kofi was the savannah's son, a man forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the unwavering belief that the human soul could conquer any obstacle, no matter how insurmountable it may seem. And so, even as the bitter truth threatened to break him, Kofi resolved to rise from the ashes of his shattered dreams. He would rebuild, one painstaking brick at a time, until he had constructed a new life, one that would serve as a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to triumph over even the cruelest of betrayals. In the depths of his despair, Kofi sought solace in the ancient wisdom of his ancestors. He journeyed back to the sun-drenched savannas, the place where his dreams had first taken flight, seeking guidance from the elders who had walked the path before him. Beneath the canopy of the mighty baobab trees, Kofi bared his soul, laying bare the anguish that threatened to consume him. The elders listened with reverence, their weathered faces etched with the lines of a lifetime's worth of triumphs and tribulations. From their lips poured forth a torrent of ancestral knowledge, each word a balm for Kofi's wounded spirit. They taught him that true strength lies not in the fleeting fortunes of this world, but in the resilience of the human spirit, a resilience forged in the fires of adversity. It was then that Kofi understood that his journey had not been one of failure, but of growth, a crucible that would temper his character and shape him into the man he was destined to become. With a heart fortified by the wisdom of his forebears, Kofi turned his gaze homeward, to the land that had given him life and nurtured his dreams. In the embrace of the savannah, he found the path to redemption, a chance to rebuild his life from the ashes of his shattered past. As the setting sun cast its golden hue over the savannah, Kofi stood tall, his weathered face a tapestry of triumph and perseverance. Though the road had been long and arduous, he had emerged from the crucible of adversity, a true son of the savannah, forged in the fires of resilience. In the distance, the laughter of children echoed across the plains, a joyous symphony that spoke of a future filled with promise and possibility. These were the inheritors of Kofi's legacy, the torchbearers who would carry the flame of his dreams into the generations to come. And as the night claimed the savannah, blanketing the land in a velvety embrace, Kofi knew that his story would live on, woven into the fabric of a people whose spirits could never be broken, whose dreams would forever soar beneath the boundless African skies. For in the end, Kofi's greatest triumph was not the accolades or the trophies, but the indelible mark he had left upon the world, a legacy of resilience, hope, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of moments, the human spirit can rise like the majestic phoenix, its wings spread wide to embrace the boundless horizons of possibility.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more African legendary folktales. Hit the notification button to be the first to be notified when we post new African home videos.